Thank you, sir. Dr.
You
Samuel,
can
thank
share
you.
the screen from your end, please. Share the screen
Wonderful.
from.
I'll do that. I'll do that.
Thank
But
you.
first of all, I need to thank Dr. Samuel for such a magnificent introduction. And I'm blessed to be among such a great like-minded people today. Good morning, everyone.
Morning,
Doctor,
please.
am I audible?
Yes, please, you are.
Wonderful. Thank you. And my job has become very, very easy because the way, though I was not looking for an easy job, right? But the way you have started and kicked off the presentation today. And this is a very important topic, like when we are talking about culture shift, especially after when the COVID-19 happened, and now Russia and Ukraine, right? Russia has invaded Ukraine, right? And the job of learning, training, and development becomes very, very essential for top-notch leaders across the globe. That means what we need to see is we need to see things from different perspectives. We need to shift our cultures. We need to sustain what we have. We need to thrive on what we have. And I am going to take your questions. I will present for 30 minutes, 35 minutes, and then we want to spend more and more time on taking your questions. I hope it makes sense, right? Because, I don't believe in PowerPoint presentations. I'm not actually a PPT presenter. So I will just keep one or two PPTs, short PPTs, and then we will take more. I will use board to explain you things. I can use examples from different parts, right, of different spheres, different countries, right? People, I want to tell you something here is the starting point of human development is actually learning. The learning, training, and development all together, right? If we don't train people, we don't develop human beings, right? We don't develop our people. And when we talk about learning, training, and development, it has actually become very difficult after COVID-19, especially when we have started using technology. And we right now, we just saw that like our moderator, his network went off. So like to ensure the quality now, in the delivery of learning, training, and development, the technology we have to ride on technology. We need to use a better bandwidth here, right? We need to use better equipments, better accessories, better devices, right? And that is what before we started today's topic, Dr. Samuel was talking to me about the library because I like books, right? And I like physical books, to be very frank with you people, right? But these days, if you look at books are actually on devices now. We see books on devices and we read through. But, I come from a school. I come from a very old background, right? My school has taught me, and we used to learn things like we used to hold books in our hand. I used to touch paper, right? I used to put my finger below that word which I was reading. That is how I have learned. So I come from an old school of thought who is adapting to new ways of learning in the new society. So people, I would invite a lot of questions, and the best way is to drop questions in the chat or let Dr. Samuel know or let the moderator know here, right, that you have a question, and then we'll take it up. Now let's move on to the agenda. What we want to do in this. We want to look at the training mechanism and the organization environment. People, I would put it like this, like when we look at training or learning, right, or development of people, our 5 senses play a very important role in that. When I say 5 senses, I mean the way you see things, the way you hear things, the way you feel about it, the way you smell and you taste, right? These are your 5 important senses. All learning takes place through these senses. And when you align all these 5 senses, you can actually create a 6th sense. And that 6th sense is very well used by the top managers, by the top leaders. They call it judgment. So you will be able to see that, like, they have, when you meet someone, after a minute or 2, 3, you start making opinion about that person. That is the judgment we are talking about here, right, people? So the mechanism is actually the basic things, right? Those five senses.
Hello? So decide can you about it.
Hello, can you please mute yourself, right? In case you want to ask me a question, you can hold on or you can raise your hand. I will definitely come back to you. So that is the traditional mechanism, was like getting into the classroom, using the board, talking to people, right? Now, and the organization environment really changed after COVID, because even if we look at, majority of people are still working from their home. And it is very good for organizations because they are spending less money on the rent, they are spending less money on burning the fuel. Diesel, you know how expensive it has become, right? So things, right, they save. And even it is easier for the employee also. It is easier for team member also, because they're not spending so much of time hassling in the traffic, right? And traffic, if you spend 2 hours and 2 hours going, 2 hours coming, so 4 hours of the day are gone, right? And that will definitely reduce the quality of your productivity. So the environment has changed, right? People are working remotely, people are working from their homes, the way I'm talking to you in this session, right? That is one definite change which has taken place. Now, I'm not saying that it is for good or bad, but the change is there. And change is the only constant thing, right? It's not that the video sessions were not there before COVID. They were there, but we were not using them that effectively. Now, let me come down to the second part. Look, people, when something new happens, when a change happens, the first thing is like you cannot control that change because it is coming from outside you, right? So how is your attitude towards that change? It is very, very important. You need to embrace change, right? And if you do not embrace that change, you fight with that change, you lose your grounds. There are certain things you can't dictate, right, to the mother nature, to this planet, right? So how is your attitude towards other people, nature, planet, right? So once you believe in acceptance, okay, this is what has happened. COVID-19 has happened. Okay, this war has happened in that part of the country. Inflation has taken place in Africa, right? Okay, what is my attitude? Look, people, here I want to stop this presentation. I want to share something very, very important with you, which I believe in this method, right? So I'm stopping this presentation for a moment here, and I will pin myself so that you can see me on the bigger screen. You can chat with me through the chat box because my chat is on, right? You can talk to me, you can throw anything. So type yes in your chat box. If you can see the board on the right, it should be pinned, it should be larger. Type yes if you can see the chat box. Yeah. Okay, and you, Dr. Yahaya, can you see this whiteboard here? Okay, wonderful, thank you. Fajimi has concerned like, okay, yes, from now I'll tell you, there are certain things which you cannot control, like inflation. Inflation is something you can't control. You can't control what is happening in other parts of the world, right? What is happening in the world, you can't control that. You know, let's forget about the world. We cannot even control our city, our country, right? So we cannot control the environment. We cannot control our, let's say, even our children, right? Even the next generation, we cannot control. So there is a minimum thing. Now, when we think about all these things, when we think about security or unemployment, right? We think about all these things. I want to share with you, we feel low about it, right? So this is my concern. It is my concern. I'm concerned about it, right? But I can't control it. I can't influence it. So what we need to look at is, we need to look into what we can influence, how I can influence these areas. So there is a circle of concern, you can say that, right? And then there is a circle of influence. Now, how you can influence inflation? I can't control inflation, but I can cut down my expenses. I can cut down my unnecessary expenses. That is it. I cannot control the world, but I can watch less of TV, less of negative news, right? What is going on between Russia and, it's not that I'm telling you not to be aware, but control what you want to know. Same thing is about the environment. about when it comes to security, circle of concern is become mindful, be watchful, right? So these are the things you can control. When you focus on the circle of influence, your circle of influence grows bigger and bigger. When you focus on circle of concern, right, your circle of influence shrinks. So this is what you need to understand, that when your circle of influence shrinks, your influence also shrinks. So this is what you need to understand here very well. And same thing applies when we talk about learning, training, and development here, people. Same thing is about attitude here. What is our attitude to all these things, all these concerns? What is our attitude to these concerns? We need to understand that, right? But let me move on to the presentation now, which I am having. Okay, here we go. Okay, so what is our attitude towards these things, right? What is the skill level I have to address that? What is happening outside, and what is the knowledge I have? And this model, ask model, is a very important model, right? Which I'm grateful that Dr. Samuel has included in this presentation, right? In this agenda for us, right? And now, how do we use this ask model to address the quality? I want to talk about this. Ask model, I will again tell you here, it's a small triangle, which I normally use to explain ask. Let me stop this presentation so that you can see the board here larger. Okay, I'm back to the board. Okay, here, ask, this is attitude, this is skill, this is knowledge, right? Your attitude is actually, it is the engine of your progress. It is the front line of your skill and knowledge. It actually shows up before even your skill and knowledge is visible to the society. So if we have to have changed overnight. For example, somebody developed the attitude for 20 years. How can you address that attitude in a short training of 2 days or 3 days or 5 days? You cannot. All you can do is you can enlighten that person. You can make that person aware what kind of attitude do you need to succeed in life. You know, we all have desired goals. We all have goals. We all want to achieve heights in our life. We want to elevate our life. So to elevate your life, you need a certain level of attitude. So what is that mindset? What is that attitude you need? Once you are able to explain it to the people, they will be able to follow you very well. So the top leaders, they have this responsibility that to pass on a message on this model. What attitude do you need? But let me tell you something, people. How this young generation learns. They don't learn by, if we tell them, they don't learn. If you tell your children, don't watch TV, you all know what is going to happen. I don't need to tell you that, right? So if you tell them don't watch TV, they may not watch in front of you, right? But moment you are out of the room, you will find them watching TV. So the thing is, don't tell them, show them, demonstrate them. So leaders have this responsibility I will share with you. This is the biggest responsibilities that leaders have today, is to demonstrate what kind of attitude you need in the young people. So if I am humble as a leader, if I am nice as a leader, if I have a positive attitude, if I have a growth mindset, that is what I am demonstrating at my workplace and at my home. And it is obvious that the people will follow us. So it is very important we demonstrate the quality we want. If there is something you want of that standard, of this level, you need to demonstrate a higher quality. You need to demonstrate a higher standard to your people so that even if they catch up 80% of that, they'll be close to what you are expecting from them. That's very, very important thing. Then the skill building part is one other thing where you need to continuously build skills. And let me tell you, on skills also, skill is actually a function of knowledge, because knowledge is what you learn and skill is when you apply it, it becomes your skill. I hope you agree with me on this, right? Because knowledge is information. It does not become power to you. It does not become skill overnight. You need to practice that knowledge over and over again so that it becomes, you are skilled in that. You can really, really deliver what your people are asking for, right? So you can turn your knowledge into the skill. Now, for example, whatever I am sharing with you is just a knowledge. You may not be skilled in that unless you practice it. When you are going to practice it, I guarantee you will be much more skilled. Now, today, what we do as a leader, as a MDI, we want to give more and more knowledge to our people. I would beg to disagree on that. We should not, what is today? More, if you keep giving more, right, they are distracted. Like digital distraction, there is so much of distraction on our smartphones today. WhatsApp messages, YouTube videos, Instagram, so much of things are pouring on everyday basis. So less is more. Give less, don't give too much. Do not, one program, one training you decide should just focus on two things. To spend 2 days, 3 days just focusing on two topics. Because what we want is, we don't only want knowledge, want now. So e-learning, yes, e-learning is okay. We can spend e-learning, time on e-learning, but you have to devise a method that how I am going to engage my learner, how I am going to engage during my training programs, very, very important. Now, the beauty, there is an advantage of e-learning. I'm actually a great fan of e-learning programs, right? Because I will put it like this, e-learning is very powerful. Why it is powerful? Because it is something like a self-paced learning program. You don't, teacher today now, as your guest lecturer here, I am moving with a certain speed, right? Now, certain people may be fast than me, they may be slow than me. So everyone's learning pace is different. We need to understand that. Can you type into the chat box so that I know you understood? Everyone's learning pace is different, right? Let me see the chat box now, right? Everyone's learning pace is different, right? Absolutely. I'm waiting for your comments. Olufemi, yes, I know that you have to engage your learner. Good, good, good. But here, what I'm telling you is that we have to make sure that, okay, yes, everyone's learning speed is different. So when there is e-learning going on, the people can learn at their own pace. That is why it is very important, and it is going to stay. It is not going away. It is going to stay. It was there before COVID-19 also. It is going to stay, and the degree of e-learning is going to increase over a period of time. The only thing is that you have to make sure that your e-learning it's engaging. These days we have even videos also which are very engaging. But if you say that everything is going to be 100% e-learning, I'm sorry. Everything is not going to be 100% e-learning. Where it was more of classroom training, more of physical training, there physical training will reduce. For example, your physical classroom training was 100%, that will reduce to 60%, I will tell you. That will maybe 70%, maybe 60%, but 30-40% e-learning is going to stay. And I will share with you, many companies have actually switched over to LinkedIn learning. LinkedIn learning it acquired actually a company called LindaLearning.com. So Microsoft acquired it, and so it's part of it has got integrated with LinkedIn Learning, right? But that is not going to get results. if you really want results, right, you have to blend e-learning with the physical programs. You have to encourage that, right? Virtual programs like this are also, they have their own place, right? Virtual program where the trainer goes on live and he shares thoughts with you, right? And so what the future should be 40% and maybe 30% and 30%. 40% of the training should be your physical programs, right? 30% is virtual program like this. And then the balance 30% is e-learning. E-learning, you leave them the videos, you leave them everything of the virtual things also, right? Like our Dr. Samuel is recording this session. So maybe he makes it available for us so that we can watch it at later stage, right? So e-learning is going to stay. And MDIs, I would tell you, as a management development institutes, we have a huge responsibility to train leaders, not only the leaders of the organizations, but the leaders of the countries, of the societies. If we are looking at upliftment of African nations, right, we have to focus on the development of our top-notch leaders, right? And there we need to bring in things like ethics, we need to bring in plans like succession planning, we need to bring in topics like how to empower youth, how to turn them into your, they can get you a lot of FDI, foreign direct investments from other countries, the people, those who want to invest money in your, so how to take leverage of the technology, right? So all this is going to happen from the leadership level. And leadership levels, I would tell you, of community, of organizations, of companies, and of the countries, they actually set the direction and pace of the growth of the country, right? And we need to look at the good things also. Majority of times, we should be actually looking at good things, right? Good things from the society which is coming towards that, good thing in the country. If I talk about West African countries here, I will tell you, we are very highly rich in resources. And we have to use these resources for the development of the nation, for the development of the region, right? And that is very much possible. It can be attained in 10 to 15 to 20 years, right? And when we talk about the cost benefits, it's not a cost, first of all. I want to talk about it. Any investment, any money, any dollar spent, any amount of money you spent in development of people is an investment. It's not a cost. And there are huge benefits. Some people ask me, okay, if I spend this money on training my people and building the capacity of these people, right? And if they leave, what happens to me? And my only humble appeal to them is, right, if you don't spend uplifting your people, how will you uplift the service of your company? How will you uplift the society? How will you uplift the country? And if you don't uplift them, they are not going anywhere because they are not going to get a job, right? They are going to stay with you, right? And their level of service grows down, 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 down. When their level of service goes down, your company is also going down. Same thing applies to companies, to countries, and to communities. We have to make sure that we are making investment on our youth. We are making investment on our leadership skills. Because the best thing we can do is we can develop ourselves on it. If you think we can mint money, yes, you can mint money, but not by putting a printing press, but by creating a society where everyone is developing themselves, right? And what we do here, I will share a small model with you before I round up my conversation. I believe that like the quality assurance of learning, training, and development, not only in MDIs, but in overall approach, can actually be achieved if you follow NLP. When you follow NLP, you definitely achieve that. By N, what do I mean? N here means neuro. You actually have neurons in your right mind, right? In that mind, we have neurons floating, and those neurons are giving you the way you are thinking, the way you are taking action, the way you are converting your thoughts, your ideas into actions, right? So by our thinking and by our regular taking actions, we can ensure quality. That's the first thing. Then we have to be very mindful, I will put it like this, about the language, about the words you use. For example, if you call someone stupid, right? The word you used is stupid. The word came into on your mouth at a later stage. First, you were thinking about that word. So when you're thinking about that word, who is more stupid than me? Because I want to speak the word stupid. So be very careful about what you think, because what you think becomes your words, right? So your words, you have to choose them very carefully. You have to communicate in a very subtle way, and you have to speak to the subconscious mind of people. You have to influence them, right? Before you influence other people, you have to influence yourself. You have to build conviction. As I told you that I come from sales background, right? You can't convince other people about to buy your products if you don't have conviction on your product itself. So you can't tell anyone to buy your product service, right? If you don't have conviction about your product and service, right? That's very, very important, people. So you have to be very careful about your thoughts, about what is going on in your mind, and what is happening in your language. What kind of words are you using? Then the third thing, which is programming. I want to tell you, people here, every one of you is programmed. Everyone is programmed right now. Just become mindful the way you are sitting now. Just become aware the way you are sitting now. Drop your pens. You don't need to write anything. Just watch me and the screen here, right? And become aware of the way you are sitting now. That is how you sit. You are actually programmed to sit like that. We all are programmed. When you watch your children, right? Between 0 to 7, they are getting programmed. They are picking those habits, right? So it is the way we conduct ourselves. It is the way we behave ourselves. Leaders have to, because they are the role models of young generation. Leaders are the role models of middle management. They have to conduct themselves very, very well in public and in private, because nobody knows who's recording you when you are in private, right? You have to be very careful of your words, what you speak, right? You can speak something, right? And I will share something with you right here. I travel a lot, and sometimes people ask me, okay, where I'm based out of. I proudly tell them I'm based out of Lagos, right? It is Africa, it is Nigeria, right? So people ask me, oh, okay, so how's the youth there? Do they sleep all the time? I said, no, there is nothing like that, right? They are very good. They're very okay. They're very, very fantastic people, right? And they're very energetic, like youth of any other country. So people, I want to tell you that the words which we use distort our image. They make or they break our image. So we have to make sure that we are using proactive and productive words for everyone, right, people? So, okay, and I will take a little bit of time here. I think I've taken more time. Oh, people, I don't want to be taking more time now, right? So let me quickly go down to the last part, where I can thank you for your active participation through the chat box, right? And you can ask me questions of 15, 20 minutes. Okay, we'll take questions and then we'll move on.